Hey, what's up, Raider Nation? Chantel Chand here, and the Raiders have a chance to come back from the bye week and maybe surprise some people against a very, very good Jacksonville team.
Raider Nation, Professor Kennedy here. We're going to talk about things that have been changed after the Raider bye week, but looking forward to the future. Look, we got a long way to go. We'll do it together right here on the Raider Podcast.
Big injury news for the Jacksonville Jaguars that could definitely impact the game on Sunday against the Raiders. And I got a couple quarterbacks that I'm looking at, and even a couple other players I'm looking at for the upcoming draft. Yeah, I'm talking about the draft already, but we're doing a little bit of everything here on the Raider Squad Show. Let's do it.
Raider Nation, it's time. This is the Raiders Squad. Everything Las Vegas Raiders every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Death Star in the desert. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Commitment to excellence starts here. The Raiders Squad Show starts now.
Hey, what's up, Raider Nation? And remember, if you like the content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media channels. You'll see in the description below and on the screen if you're watching this on YouTube, the ways that you can connect with us. Also, we're on the audio side. So wherever you find your shows, podcasts, make sure to find us there as well. Give us a 5-star because Link and Q are on the show. And if you leave a rate and review, that helps the channel grow as well. And we do appreciate you making Locked On Raiders or the Squad Show your first listen of the day. The show continues to grow, and this is also an interactive show. So in the final segment, Q and Link are going to be answering some of your questions. So leave your comments as well, because we'll be reading some of your comments as well. Raider Nation, thank you so much for joining us on this Friday morning. Before we get to what's on the list for today, of course, our sponsors, this episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. Lots to get to. I remember I did say in the final segment, Q and Link will be answering some of your questions. So get those in now.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not.
So no personal questions, obviously.
It's Halloween. I don't feel like answering everybody's questions.
He said it's Halloween.
It's Halloween. I'm not answering.
It might be what Link's costume might be for later on tonight. We'll find out. All right. We're going to find out on that. And as Q mentioned in the beginning of the show, we will be talking draft. Q and Link are going to be giving you some guys that
I don't have my own homework assignment done.
We trust you.
I'm not going to deep dive into the draft. It's too early.
That's him over here. Yes. Yeah.
Obviously, there's a couple quarterbacks that everyone's going to pay attention to, and I've got a guy on my radar that I think Big Link will be a fan of as well. So
it's him and it's her.
It's a lot of me.
I got early draft. I don't do this shit. I don't.
It's really me. It's really me, you guys.
We're October. I don't do this.
You guys, I'm making them do it because I've been doing it this whole time. Okay, anyways. I've been doing it this whole time since week 2, since that Chargers game on Monday night. Okay, I've been upset since then. But as Q mentioned, he's got a couple of quarterbacks. We're going to be talking about a couple of quarterbacks that could possibly be seen on the field other than Geno Smith. Right, we're going to be talking about Pickett or AOC if it's time for them. And we're going to be previewing the Raiders in Jacksonville, obviously, because that's the big game. But guys, we got to start off with the biggest news of the day. And you know what? Well, let's start off with Jacksonville, actually, because this is huge news, as Q kind of alluded to earlier. The Jacksonville Jaguars are placing Travis Hunter on injured reserve due to a knee injury. And he will miss at least a minimum of 4 games. This is huge, guys, because I think coming into this game against the Raiders, actually, even before this, they were talking about how they were wanting to make Travis Hunter more a part of this Jacksonville offense and go to him more, especially on the offensive side. So this is huge. And the Raiders should take advantage of this. But Q, just your thoughts on this and how this affects Jacksonville.
Well, I mean, it affects them because he's a playmaker for them. And I don't really agree with the way that they're playing him. You know, they're playing him more on the offensive side of things than defense. I think he's a better cornerback, but that's just me. But they needed him on the offensive side as a wide receiver because Brian Thomas Jr. has not had the second year in the league like they thought he was. He's had a lot of drops. So they've really leaned on Travis Hunter to be a guy on offense and really be productive. And so for now, them not to have him, it's not the end all be all. Like, it's not the quarterback's down and now they're down to, you know, some scrub off the bench, but it's still just one less weapon that they're going to have. And so I do think it's a big deal when you look at the fact that he got injured in practice yesterday. It's not like he's been injured for a couple weeks. He literally got injured yesterday and they put him on IR immediately the next morning. So to me, that's a pretty big deal for the long term. And selfishly, I wanted to see the young man play, right? I wanted to see what he looked like up close and personal. Obviously, Raider Nation is not going to get that opportunity. I won't get that opportunity. Big Link won't get that opportunity. It just kind of stinks to not be able to see him up close and personal and be able to play because, I mean, he's a hell of a talent, and it's unfortunate for the number 2 overall pick.
Hugh, what level of disrespect does this add to as far as the affinity or the appreciation of the Raiders if you can't start your best player?
Right. I mean, I say
that because Q, in all honesty, Chantel, Q, this is what the Raiders have become. Mm-hmm. Nobody looks at you as a true challenge.
Right.
No, we're not going to put our best players out there. The reason why you draft somebody in the magnitude of what they drafted, and the reason why you put somebody where they are, the possible two-way player and everything else, is because you're looking for the affinity that this player brings to the roster.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why I think that the knee injury is pretty bad if they immediately put him on IR
Agreed.
the next morning. You know what I mean? Like, because normally, as you know, teams will linger around and say, well, maybe we're going to put him on IR, maybe we're not going to put on. But for him to do it immediately the next day, I feel like that's really a pretty bad knee injury. That sucks.
That's a good point. It sucks for him. And I wish the young man the best because he has a promising future in front of him. But my thing is this: is that where we're talking about with the Raiders, where are they after a bye week?
Yeah,
who are they? And if another team doesn't take you serious enough to say, you know what, we're going to put our best player out. We're not going to put our best players out there. It is what it is. That's my thing. And so, as we look forward to the Raiders, because this is what we focus on, where are they? Where are they? Where are they?
It's a great question. It's a great question. I think we're going to start to learn a lot about where they are coming out of this bye week. And, talking to coaches yesterday, talking to Chip Kelly, talking to Patrick Graham, and them having a little bit of chance to kind of evaluate who they are and where they were and where their units were. I mean, I think we're going to learn, like, are they going to be able to turn this thing around? Are they going to show some kind of life, or is it going to be
that's what I'm more interested in talking about. And I know we have to talk about the basics when it comes to building up this game, because for the Raiders, I want to see if they can create something for themselves, regardless of what Jacksonville's got going on. Jacksonville, drafted Cam Ward. They drafted Travis Silverman. They drafted their people they want for the future. I want the Raiders' future to happen now.
Right.
And want to see it in vision now.
Right.
And as much as I love you both, we do every podcast, we keep it real.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to keep it real. And as you know, for the Raiders, they had some good news on their injury report, guys. A lot of guys coming back from injury, which is really, really important. Just to keep you guys updated, Brock Bowers did practice in full yesterday, which is great. Adam Butler and Max Crosby were limited, but they did participate. They didn't participate on Wednesday. So that's kind of what Pete Carroll said would happen as well. So they were limited yesterday. Lonnie Johnson, this is probably the best news of the week, guys. Lonnie Johnson returned back to practice on Wednesday, and he was limited, but he's back. And so some great news there for the Raiders as well. Was there anybody on that list that you guys were concerned about, or what's your thoughts on just the Raiders being a little bit more healthy now? We'll go with you first, Link.
You know what? There's no one on the list I'm looking at right now that stood out to me. It's only I want all hands on deck, because I want the Raiders to utilize this bye week as an opportunity to propel themselves forward. And the only way I'm going to see that is when they play this weekend against Jacksonville. Every team in the National Football League has its strengths and weaknesses. Every team in the National Football League has the things that you can capitalize on and obviously work forward. But I want to see if this team can and I say that lightheadedly, guys. I want to see if this team can work themselves into a team.
Right.
I mean, I want to see it into a team. I told you guys the beginning of the season that I was going to let you know what this team's identity was after the first 4 weeks. I know the team's identity. We talked about it. But I want to see if this team can play like they got something. How do I say this, Q?
Carefully.
Very, very carefully.
Very carefully, my friend.
How do I say this? You and I worked together a long time. I want to see this team.
Yeah.
Play
like you got. Yeah.
Be something.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they should be doing, and that's what I want to see coming out of this bye. And Chantel, you talked about the injury report, and everyone's getting healthy. Brock Bowers, as Chip Kelly said, as long as he gets through today and the weekend, he'll play on Sunday. That's great, right? Jacoby Myers is expected to be back. That's great. Lonnie Johnson probably won't be back until next week against Denver on that short week. That's what Pete Carroll alluded to. And Aiden O'Connell, both those guys' 21-day window is open. They just haven't put them on the roster yet, so they could practice. They don't count against the 53-man roster right now, but at some point, if they do activate them, and I'm sure that they will activate them sooner rather than later, then they'll have to make a roster move. So those two guys I don't expect to be a factor this weekend, but they could be moving forward. But this team, I mean, look, this is the thing. They have to put behind them what happened in the first 7 weeks. They still have more of the season left than they've already played, right? They've only played 7 games. They literally have 10 games to go. I estimated 8 wins when the season started. Doesn't look like they're going to get there. But if you play 500 ball, I mean, I think that you're going out on a pretty high note, right? Getting up to 7-10, and I know some Raider fans won't like that because they'll say it affects the draft. Whatever, they don't care about that. The players in the locker room don't care about that. Maybe the front office does, and other people like that matter, that they're trying to build this future of the team. The players in the locker room don't care about what the draft looked like because half of them aren't going to be there next year anyway, right?
And that's spot on. That's exactly right, Q. That's my thing. Yeah. We have to tread on light water with what we talk about because the players in the locker room are the only thing that matters.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get a top draft left tackle. You're not going to get a number 1 quarterback. You're not going to get that, standing in the wings. You have to play right now, and that's Q. That's the thing that I'm talking about. What we have right now.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would be better than the product we've shown.
For sure.
Yeah, but the good news is that we finally get to see Brock hopefully back as well in the game. And as you said, like if he passes all those protocols, that will be better for the Raiders. Also, just in terms of blocking, Brock is such a big part of that as well. Just in terms of the Raiders after the bye week, guys, because this is going to be a very, very tough game, and we're going to break it down in the next segment. But I thought there would be some moves that were going to be made during the bye week. What changes do you think we'll see on the field, or that we should see on the field? Because I felt like it was kind of a quiet bye week, Q.
I think it was a quiet bye week as well, but I do expect to see more of a commitment to the run game on Sunday. And I've been talking about this for a while. And I know that you could first say, well, but the offensive line's not blocking. But the Raiders haven't shown a commitment to run the ball. And I do believe with as many times as Pete Carroll has emphasized this, again, this is me listening to what Pete Carroll, the head coach, is saying and figuring that they're going to put this plan in place. I think that there's going to be a much bigger emphasis on Ashton Jeanty, Raheem Mostert, whoever's up as a running back, running the rock and really doing that on Sunday. And I think that that's going to be one of those non-negotiables that Pete Carroll is moving forward. Honestly, and I've been saying this on my local show, I think that there's a lot of eyes and attention on Chip Kelly. I mean, this guy is the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league, and the Raiders offense hasn't looked like the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league runs it, right? And so I think there needs to be better rhyme and reason to this, to this Raiders offense. I think the play calling needs to be more, just like they make sense. They complement each other. Plays complement each other. Like they always say, the play call that you do in the first quarter is setting up a play in the third quarter, or whatever the case may be. Like you're setting up something now for later. It's a chess match, the ultimate chess match, and the really good ones do it well, and the guys that aren't very good, they don't do it well. I mean, it's just that simple. I think there's a lot of attention going to be placed on Chip Kelly and his play calling moving forward.
Q, Chantel, we've been in this place before. We've been in this sort of surrounding before. What's going to happen next? We don't know what's going to happen next until we see it. Coming out of the bye game, coming out of the bye week, where the Raiders, they won. Yay, they won. Coming out of the bye week, there's a lot to expect and a lot to prepare for and a lot to hope for. It won't come to fruition until we see it. Because, in honesty, the only Chip Kelly that will answers that will be questions that will be answered, will be until we see the product on the field. I believe Geno Smith is the best quarterback that we have on our roster to win. Doesn't mean that it's going to be the future.
Right, for sure.
We'll talk about later on today whether Aiden O'Connell should start or anybody else should start. It's a notion to where you and I, the three of us, have pondered.
That's Link pondering, you guys, if you're listening.
That's my pondering. Pondering, capital P. But does it work? Does it work? Does it? Because all we want is this organization to win. That's all we want.
Right.
It's a long process to get to there. And that's the bigger question that we fathom every time we do a show. Right. How can we get the Raiders a fucking win? I'm sorry, a win.
Exactly. And we're going to be talking about that on the next segment. The guys are going to be breaking down Jacksonville Raiders, their keys to victory, and who they think the X factor is going to be. That's coming up next in the next segment. But keep your questions and comments coming in the final segment. Link and Q are going to be answering some of your questions. And as Link actually teased, we will be talking about the quarterback position as well in that third segment. So keep it locked here on the Locked On Network. You're watching or listening to the Raiders Squad Show. This episode is brought to you by Mazda, moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward is the fact that safety Lonnie Johnson is back practicing with the Raiders. Now, this is a guy who has been with the Raiders for some time now, but at the same time, he has been injured since training camp. He kept on pushing, and now he is back practicing with the Raiders. The Raiders have, I believe, 21 days to make a decision on Lonnie Johnson to place him on the active roster or back on IR. And great news for a guy like Lonnie Johnson. And this is a secondary that the Raiders would need him. So when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome back. Remember, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media channels. Remember, in the final segment, Q and Link are going to be answering some of your questions, so drop them in the chat now. If you're listening to this a little bit later on, you can always drop some questions or comments in the chat, and we may be able to get to them on another episode. But guys, we got to start off by talking about now the Raiders at home to Jacksonville. This is a really important game for the Raiders, who are sitting at 2-5, coming off a bye week. Now we just heard the news of Travis Hunter not being in this game as well. He's going to be missing at least 4 games. We'll go with you first, Link. What are your keys to victory for the Raiders getting this win at home after the bye week?
Find a way to win. Find a way to win. It honestly, sister, bro, this is the most... how do you put this? This is the most defining moment for the Raiders in their season. Find a way to win. Look, we watched last year when they were positioned to probably play, or lack of play, for the very first pick in the draft to draft a player. Well, they blew that. They won. But I'm of the mindset that I want to see the Raiders find a way to win. And I want them to look at this Travis Hunter displacement, whatever this is players-wise, to be a motivation. He was Chantel that, oh, you mofos didn't respect me enough. I'm going to beat your ass. Can we see that?
Been asking for that all season, Link. Been asking for that.
Q, Chantel, am I wrong in saying that as a Raider fan? Can we see that?
I think all Raider fans would love to see that. Love to see them go out there and just dominate, right? Even the game against Tennessee, it was a win, but it wasn't convincing, right? And so I think that
when they played the Washington Commanders, they didn't have their starting quarterback,
right?
If that wasn't enough, that here. And you start a journeyman that's been around the league and Marcus Mariota, you start him against us. Can we see a team that displaces its opponent in a way towards like you don't want to start your player, you don't want to start your main guy? I'm going to show you something. I want to beat the snot off of you. You should have started your players. That's what I'm hoping happens in this game. Not only to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, but also to show the team, the Raider Nation, there is something that's going to happen in the future. We're progressing in the right way. That's what I'm hoping for, guys. That's Q. Chantel,
what it's gotta be.
Sis, that's what I'm looking forward to this weekend.
That's what it's got to be. I mean, it really does. And again, they have to go out there with the mindset of there's 10 games in the regular season left, starting on Sunday against Jacksonville, and we've got to go out there and play our best football, right? You've had all these weeks to get used to the system, get used to each other, get healthy. I mean, all these are excuses. Every team is dealing with injuries. Every team has guys that are down. Teams are still finding ways to win games, and teams are still finding ways to have a real good offense, regardless if you have a guy or two down. It doesn't matter. You see a backup quarterback spot there, man. Look, the backup quarterback for Washington put a 40-burger up on the Raiders. So, I mean, they can go out there and they can make it happen. They've just got to figure it out. Not to mention the Raiders need to find out how to start winning at home. Right. Again, this is another one of these situations. The Raiders have the highest ticket price in the league, and you're seeing right before game time, you can go get a ticket dirt cheap. Because Raider Nation doesn't want to go. They don't want to go. They don't want to spend it. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them whatsoever. I'm blessed, and I'll never take it for granted. I get a credential. I walk in the game. I don't have to worry about paying for a ticket. But others do. And so why would you invest your good money in a product that's not worth your good money, right? You're being disrespected. You're giving out your money, and you're not getting the reward on the back end of it. So Raiders need to start finding out a way to win in Allegiant Stadium. Pete Carroll just talked about it on Wednesday. So last time we were in the building, we won. It felt great. Right, our fans were fired up. We need to treat them to that again. And he's right. They need to do that. So those guys in the locker room need to go and figure out how to get a dub. And look, I had Landon Roberts in my radio show for an hour on Friday in the bye week. And he said straight up, like, hey, we are closer than a lot of people think. And he felt very confident. He said, you're going to remember this conversation when you see the second half of the season coming out of the bye week. So that starts on Sunday. So E-Rob is a man of his word, so I trust what he's saying. Now I just want to see it. It's good to talk about it. It's good to have that confidence. Now go out there and do it. Jacksonville, the one thing I can tell you, they're going to try to get back to running the ball. They haven't ran the ball very well the last 2 weeks. That's when I know they were on the bye week, but the last two games they played, they haven't ran the ball. When they were successful early in the season, they were running the ball, and they were a top 5 rushing team in the league. They got away from that. Liam Cohen said, we need to get back to that. Well, guess what? The Raiders defense is meant to stop the run. It's built to stop the run first. So that plays into the Raiders' hands. So this is an opportunity for them to go out there and put their best foot forward. But again, I could talk about it. Lincoln could talk about it. Chantel, you could talk about it. It's up to those players on the field to go out there and do it.
Yeah, and I think for Jacksonville, one of their biggest strengths is their defense, and this is a pass rush that has been pretty successful against this Raiders O-line. How do you think the O-line will fare against this pass rush? They're going to be coming at the Raiders pretty strong on Sunday, Link.
Max protection. You're going to have the top 5, probably 7-man protection across the board when you want to throw down the field. It's essential. Q.
Yeah, I mean they're going to definitely try to attack the quarterback and try to blast the offensive line, and the offensive line hasn't been really up to par. But again, I mean, man, I feel like I'm making excuses. Like, well, the offensive line's not where it needs to be. Colton Miller's down. Okay, every team deals with it. Hell, the Chargers lost both of their bookend tackles, right? They lost Slater and they lost Alt. I mean, they got Alt back now, but I mean, good teams find ways to get it done. It's just that simple. Bad teams make excuses. Good teams find ways to get it done, overcome their issues, right? And so, yeah, the offensive line's not exactly where any of us would want it to be, right? I know that Stone Forsythe is not Colton Miller. I get it. I know JPJ could definitely be playing out of position, but that's where they have him, so whatever, right? Just go out there and execute. And that's why I keep going back to the run game. Lincoln, you say it all the time. Offensive linemen much rather run block than they do pass block. And JPJ is a much better rush blocker than he is a pass blocker at this stage of the game. So I'd rather add Jenti run right up his backside, and I'll live and die with that, as opposed to Geno Smith looking back there skittish and throwing the ball around the yard and possibly going the other way. And, oh, by the way, Jacksonville's good at turning the rock over, creating turnovers, right? I mean, Devin Lloyd's probably going to miss the game, which is good because he's leading the team with interceptions with 4. Hell, he's got more interceptions than the Raiders do as a team. So that's good, but you just can't turn the ball over. And so I think a heavy dose of the run game is what you're going to see and what you should see on Sunday.
I think the Raiders should commit to the run game.
Exactly.
Chantel and Q, they should commit to the run game because this is going to allow your quarterback, Geno Smith, who I will say this, and let me just put this out there. And in the lieu of quarterbacks and what we have on our roster, Geno Smith gives us the best chance to win. Mm-hmm. What we have on our quarterback class. All right. Our quarterbacks there on Geno Smith gives us the best chance to win. The best chance to have Geno Smith have success is to run the freaking football. That's it. The quarterback's best friend.
Yep.
So I'll let that go. I'll let that float between us and Q and Chantel. That's my 2 cents, and I'm giving it in.
Yeah, and listen, we've been saying it for a really long time, and just use Jenti as a workhorse. Like, it works. Like, even in that game against Kansas City, Jenti was like, he's averaging like 4.6 yards per carry, and then they just went away from it. Yeah. They just went away from it, and it made no sense. So, like, you guys are preaching, Preacher Q and Preacher Link this episode. You got to run the ball. You got to run the rock. One thing I want to mention, though, on the defensive side of the ball, guys, as you know, Pete Carroll loves to run cover 3, and Jacksonville has struggled against cover 3. The Rams ran cover 3 against them in that game. Remember, Jacksonville also went into a bye week, so they're coming off fresh into this game as well, right? But Trevor Lawrence has struggled against cover 3, and he has not played very well against cover 3, guys. What are your thoughts on the defense? And Pete Carroll, obviously, he's going to roll with cover 3. PG's going to roll with cover 3 in this game, most likely. But Trevor Lawrence has also, I feel like, not played to his potential. Like, even his numbers are kind of down this year. The first 5 games, Jacksonville played very well, I felt like. But what are your thoughts on Trevor Lawrence and how he might perform against this Raiders defense, and what the Raiders defense needs to do to kind of cause them some chaos?
I mean, look, it's real serious. I mean, it's real simple. I think, that they've obviously got to be able to stop the run. I think Jacksonville's going to try to get back to that, and then they pin their ears back and get to Trevor Lawrence. Ever since they beat the Chiefs, they really haven't done very well offensively. They've really been struggling offensively. And Trevor Lawrence, you said he's been kind of down this year. He's kind of been down in his career, to be honest. I mean, keeping it a buck, like he hasn't been the guy that anyone expected when he was drafted number 1 overall, when everyone said after his freshman year at Clemson that he could be in the league right now. He hasn't been that guy for one reason or the other. I'm not saying it's all on him, but he's been very inconsistent. And I believe that inconsistency will continue even on Sunday. He'll give the Raiders chances and opportunities to make plays. He'll put the ball in harm's way. The question is, and it's always the same question for me, will the Raiders make the play? Or will the ball get batted in the air and then it drop harmlessly to the ground like it does so many times? Like, it drives me crazy. Vinny Bonsignor, one of our colleagues, Lincoln knows him really well. He's always standing next to me at training camp. And we'll sit there and we'll see a ball batted in the air and it'll float up and it'll hit the ground. And I'll hit Vinny in his arm. I said, that can't happen. That can't happen. That ball, when they're up there like that, and that's what made Patrick Graham mad a few weeks ago when I asked him about that, because he had mentioned, hey, we're doing a good job batting the ball in the air. We're getting some pass defense. And I said, yeah, but How come they're not being able to get the turnover? How come when the ball gets batted in the air, it goes, and then he got mad, and he wasn't mad at me. He was just mad at the fact that you're right. They don't find ways to come up with the ball enough. So that's on them. The players have to be able to come up with those plays. Trevor Lawrence will give you an opportunity. Will the Raiders take advantage is the question that I have, and that's a question I've had really all season long.
Absolutely spot on, Q. Absolutely spot on. Will the Raiders have a chance to take advantage of it? Take advantage of the turnovers. Look, the Jacksonville Jaguars, like other teams, will give the ball away. They'll have opportunities whether this defense can cap on that and can jump on that is a question that's
right.
that we're asking. Look, this team needs more turnovers. The Raiders need more short field focus and scoring touchdowns because they have things that they have to work on as well. And so, the answer, Q and Chantel, look, bro, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to give you opportunities, just like any other team. They're going to give you opportunities. You have to capitalize on it, and that's where we are right now. That's the conundrum that we are right now. Whether the Raiders can capitalize on that or not.
Yeah, they got to take care of the ball. That's the main thing. The Raiders cannot
Too
turn
short.
over the ball. That has to be one of the biggest narratives in this game. Who do you guys think will be the X factor or needs to be the X factor in this game? Q, we'll go with you first.
Oh, man, I think it's going to end up being someone in the secondary. I really do. I don't think it's going to be Eric Stokes. I don't think they're going to test him a lot, but I'm interested in the other side, right? Is it going to be Caillou Blue Kelly? Is it going to be Darian Porter, right? I mean, because Pete Carroll alluded to the point that during the bye week, they opened it up for some guys to earn jobs. What does that mean? I don't know. I wouldn't even lie to you and act like I do know, because we talked and heard about competition because Pete Carroll's been the head coach, and there hasn't really been a whole lot of competition as far as I'm concerned, except for JPJ fighting every single week for his job. Whole nother conversation. That could be a whole show in itself. I don't have the answers to that. I don't know what the problem is there between JPJ and the disconnection with the coaching staff. I couldn't tell you what it is. I don't know. I know I saw him in the locker room yesterday. He had a big smile on his face. Seemed like he's in a good place, and that's all you can ask. Right? I mean, I don't know. And I know that's probably Raider Nation's biggest question is what the hell is going on with JPJ? I saw someone say, well, Q needs to ask Pete Carroll and put him to the fire. About what? He already said they're not moving JPJ to center. That's not what they're going to do. They're going to have him at right guard. That's not my call. That's, and look, this is the second staff that decided that he was a guard as opposed to the center. Because remember when his rookie year, they had him at the left guard position. I don't know what's going on with him. I could not begin to tell you what's going on. And the answer that we keep getting is this is the decision that we've made where we're going to put our guys. We have Meredith as a center and we have JPJ as the right guard. I can ask the same question over and over and over and over and over and over, but it's going to become just as redundant as that just was, right? You're going to get the same freaking answer every single time. So what is the point at this stage of the game? You know what they're going to do with them. So I guess you just have to let it roll until they make a choice and make a decision. Like Lincoln says, coaches coach, players play. That's all we can do. All I can do is sit back and analyze what's going on from what they're doing. I can't make decisions, and there's no question I can ask that's going to make them change their mind and put them at center. It's just not. So they've got a real role with what they've got. It's just that simple.
And as a former offensive lineman, I can't tell you that JPJ is better at center than he is at guard. I'm going to allow the coaches to coach. That's what I've always said. Coaches coach, players play. JPJ needs to be on the field.
Right.
He needs to be out there. And you need to, if you're JPJ and you're listening to this, don't hurt your team. Do what you need to do, but don't hurt your team. There are things that we can do as offensive linemen. And trust me when I tell you this, because I've been there, between the whistles. Between the whistles. There's a small window that you can do whatever you can do between the whistles. Be mindful of that. And I will tell you this, system, bro. There are times for when you have to stand up as a man, make yourself accountable to the decisions that you made before this point and where you are. But to be a part of a team means that you have to focus on what is the greater part of the team. And trust me when I tell you this, I've had many times in my career, I would look at a guy on the field and say that I want to rip your head off. But I can't do that because of whistles. Because of whistles. I don't want to cost my team. You have to count. You have to look at that. And where the Raiders are right now, because we're talking about not only the game this weekend, but the future. JPJ needs to be mindful of that. I am the future of this offensive line, the picture of this offensive line. If I'm not out there on the field, I do nobody any good.
Right.
I need to be on the field. I need to play within the rules that are within me. I need to play within the whistles. I need to play to show the future is bright for this Raiders offense. This Raiders team has a long way to go, guys. This Raider offense has a long way to go, guys. They have to find a way to score touchdowns. And that's what I'm talking about right now. Focus on the small wins that go into a game. Score more touchdowns than the other person. Find a way to win. That will help build confidence. I said earlier that I believe Geno Smith gives us the best chance to win. So give me the best possibility to protect him up front, to allow him to do what he does. That goes on the offensive line. That's my thing, sis. That's my thing, Shant. And bro, I'm going to start with the basics because we can't move forward until we learn how to move together. And that's where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the O-line is going to have to perform against a very good D-line that the Jacksonville Jags do have. Guys, what are your predictions for this game? Do you think the Raiders get it done? What will be the score of this game? Who's going to win? Link, you've been on a roll so far, so who do you have winning this game? And what do you think
I got the Raiders winning. I got the Raiders winning 30-24 because they ran the fucking ball. Goodness. They ran the ball. I'm sorry.
We hype over here for the Raiders.
No, it's all good. They ran the ball.
Coming off the bye week, Lincoln's on fire. Just saying.
Don't get me started, Q.
I know me.
You know me. We go back further. Chantel, you're getting to know me. Just don't get me started. Don't get me started. Bro, sis, don't get me started. Raiders will win the football. Will win the game because they ran the football. I think that the Raiders win the game. I think they have to win this game, right? Yes,
there's so much, and I know that this is really a must-win for the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. They're on a 2-game losing streak. I get all that, but I just think that the Raiders need to prove to themselves that they can get it done. They can go out there and execute their game plan the way that they want to. Again, they've been riding Brock Bowers has been out, and that's been the reason why the offense hasn't been good. He's missed 3 games. Okay, he's back. All right, so now show me something, right? Show me what you could do. Show what this offense could be. Show this. We're going to win a lot of games that Pete Carroll said when he first, signed on. There's been a lot of telling. Now show it, right? Just go out there and actually put it on the field and put it on wax. So that's why, to me, I feel like they have to win this game, but they've got to play a whole hell of a lot better than they've played so far through the first 7 games of the season. So they had their bye week. Every man to a T said it came at a perfect time, gave them an opportunity to reset. Okay, go out there and do it. I don't know what the score is going to be. I'd be lying to you if I did. Look, the Raiders are averaging 14 points per game. So for them to score 30 points, that would be an incredible performance. So I'm probably not thinking that they're going to score that much. But if they can get around 24, something that we've been talking about all year long, get to around 24 points, you're going to win more games than you're going to lose. The Raiders.
Wishful thinking, Q. Wishful thinking.
They're 4 points less a game than they were last year. We all thought their offense was terrible last year.
I know.
Yeah, I think you know what? I think they're worse than last year, though.
Well, they are.
I want the Raiders. I think the Raiders have a chance to win this game, but I think Jacksonville is going to win. But the Raiders, I think they'll be competitive in this game, and that's all I can ask. I want them to be competitive, and I think the issue here is that I think Jacksonville is just a better team than the Raiders at this point. And the Raiders have a lot to prove. There's still so many questions on this offense. And I don't know if they're going to commit to run the ball. I've only seen what I've seen, and before the bye week. So I'm not convinced yet that they are going to run the ball yet.
You know what? So. In all honesty, this is what makes hard what we do weekly. This is what makes it difficult.
Right.
Because we all have our thinking that we hope where the Raiders are.
Yeah.
I came on our show, many weeks ago, and I said, I'll tell you what this team is about after 7 weeks.
Right.
Now people don't want to hear what this team is about it after 7 weeks.
Right.
We're all hopeful. We're all hopeful. We're Raider fans. We're pushing for the positive, and I get it. It's just so hard to fathom what we've seen to understand. You can't beat the Jags. You can't beat the Commanders. You can't beat they beat the Titans. I mean, where do we get our wins from when we're looking at our schedule?
Right.
That's hard.
And we did that. And we went through the second half of the schedule. If you did not see it, it was on our last episode. The guys went through it and they gave you who they thought,
Yes,
the next
sis,
10
you're
games,
right.
who they thought they would win. By the way, guys, drop your comments because in the final segment, Q and Link will be answering some of your questions, taking some of your comments. And before we get to the next segment, I also want to mention that we are going to be talking about the quarterback situation. So keep it locked here on the Locked On Network. You're listening or watching the Raiders Squad Show.
Peace.
The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action better than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to the fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, welcome back, Raider Nation. Remember, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media channels. And we have to talk about now the fact that Aiden O'Connell coming back from injury. So obviously that's built some noise, guys. And with that, there's obviously been talk because of how the season has gone with Geno, whether it was Kenny Pickett time. Kenny Pickett comes in for his first snap, and we know that didn't go well. But there's all that conversation of whether or not, if Geno doesn't perform well in this game, and there's a possibility he might actually surprise us and perform well in this game. Let's put that out there, because Q and Link have said on this show that he is the best quarterback that the Raiders have. Do you think that if Geno doesn't perform well, that it's time to go to Kenny Pickett? And is there a chance we maybe possibly also see a guy like Aiden O'Connell, Q?
I personally think that you'll see O'Connell before you see Kenny Pickett. I mean, again, I think Kenny Pickett's only on the team because Aiden O'Connell got injured, right? I'll be honest with you, man. The trade deadline's coming up. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those two guys gets moved. If if a team comes calling, there's injuries to quarterbacks, and I'm sure that John Spytek and company probably wouldn't mind moving Kenny Pickett, right? And the only reason I say Kenny Pickett, I mean, he's in the last year of his deal. Aiden O'Connell's been in the organization longer, more familiar with with everyone around them. I think he's a better fit with this team than Kenny Pickett. I just haven't seen too much from him. But that's I guess neither here nor there. But I think that more people will probably want to see what O'Connell has and can bring to the table. Seeing him in the locker room, he said yesterday that he felt fine. His wrist feels fine. It was just a matter of getting back out there and practicing. Again, remember, he hasn't been activated on the roster yet. So it's not like he can go into the game on Sunday if Geno struggles. They're like, oh, O'Connell's back. Couldn't do it, right? It would have to be Kenny Pickett time. He's not on the roster yet. So until they actually activate him, it doesn't matter. But if Geno struggles this game and they say, hey, we need to get another quarterback ready, short week versus Denver, they might go with Kenny ahead of time because it's that short week, and then wait for the Dallas game, because it's a Monday game. And so they'd have almost like a mini bye to be able to get O'Connell ready. That's how I can kind of see it going down. But I really anticipate Geno playing this week and against Denver as well. And if it goes south and it doesn't go, and he's just not playing well and turning the ball over still, then I could see them getting Aiden O'Connell ready for the Dallas Cowboys Monday Night Football.
Totally agree, Q. Totally agree, Chantel. Look, as I said before, Geno Smith gives you the best possibility to win right now. If you do go Aiden O'Connell, if you do say, you know what, I'm going to fix my offense around Aiden O'Connell, it goes into more of the discovery. It goes in more to the imagination to how to have an offense around Aiden O'Connell work, because the current offense out of Geno Smith doesn't work for Aiden O'Connell. So you have to reimagine the possibilities of where you are offensively and what you want to do offensively. With that being said, as I said before, Geno Smith gives you the best chance to win what you have and what on the roster. Before the trade deadline, if there's somebody who wants to look for a quarterback and wants to reach, obviously you have some some value into dealing. But if Aiden O'Connell is going to be a quarterback on this team, there has to be a special offense created for him. The one they have right now doesn't work for Aiden O'Connell. There's no doubt about it. So they have to create a special offense for him. So I think going future, going in and looking into the future, it has to change. But to your point, sis, in all honesty, with Chantel, to your point, it's got to be a revolve around Geno Smith. There's no other way around it.
If you guys had to pick who you're more comfortable with if they went without Geno, because I think that's a conversation that everyone kind of wants to know. Would you feel more comfortable with AOC, or would you feel more comfortable with a guy like Kenny Pickett?
No,
it's not even close for me.
Yeah,
it's not even close for me. Aiden O'Connell, I'm much more comfortable with. Now, he struggled in Chip Kelly's offense early, right? Remember, they had to speed him up during the preseason, and he wasn't really looking like, and look, Aiden O'Connell has not been Mr. Consistency anyway since he's been in the league, but I'm just more comfortable with his leadership skills. I'm more comfortable with his familiarity with the players on the team, his relationship with these guys. He's been there the whole time, where Kenny Pickett didn't come in till the end of preseason, so he hasn't been there as long. I just think that Aiden O'Connell is the better QB than Kenny Pickett. There's a reason why Kenny Pickett's on team 4 in one season, right? How quickly did he go from Philadelphia to Cleveland to the Raiders? He's been moving around quite a bit. I have more confidence in O'Connell. That doesn't mean anything, because neither one of those guys, at this stage of the game, are great solutions at this position. They brought in Tyler Lockett. To me, that's 2 reasons. They brought him in to give Geno someone that he's comfortable and familiar with. Geno, waxed poetically the other day about how they're tight friends. Their wives are tight with each other. He's on kid 2. Tyler's on kid 2. Like, he's just a familiar guy. It's like, I don't want to put it on the same page, but it's like Aaron Rodgers getting Devontae Adams back. Like, they're buddies, right? So they know each other really well. They can communicate without saying a word to each other. But look, at the end of the day, Tyler Lockett's not Devontae Adams. He's not some number 1 wide receiver. He's a wide receiver. So, to me, that signing was more of a, hey, this guy's comfortable and familiar with him, so we're going to bring him in. He's Pete's guy as well, because they were in Seattle for so long. And, oh, by the way, if they flip Jacoby Myers before the trade deadline, maybe he slides into that position as well. So it's kind of twofold, in my opinion, why they brought Tyler Lockett in.
Q and Chantel, I don't know what Kenny Pickett brings to the table. I've only seen what we had in Aiden O'Connell. And, look, I know it hasn't been glamorous.
Right.
I know it hasn't been beautiful, and I understand that. But I think Aiden O'Connell's familiarity with the players that you have on the roster is probably the better position move if you're going to move at quarterback,
right,
than Kenny Pickett, just because it's an unproven commodity, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
No, that definitely makes sense. And even for myself, I'm more comfortable with a guy like Aiden O'Connell over Kenny Pickett. I still think Kenny Pickett is probably still learning that offense a little more, where Aiden O'Connell, even though it is a new offense with Chip Kelly, at least there is some, he's been around the team. He's been around the players a little bit longer.
And
so for Pickett.
And remember this, he's also getting, in practice, he's getting what? Scout team reps. He's not getting very many reps. So it's not like, at least Aiden O'Connell went through the whole training camp, went through all the preseason until he got injured. So he's had way more reps than Kenny Pickett. Like, everyone just looks at, oh, well, Kenny's athletic. Kenny's a former first-round pick. He's a better option. He has no experience whatsoever in this system with these players, with these coaches, because he's getting so minimal reps. It's not training camp where you can get a lot of reps as a backup quarterback. In the regular season, you only get a handful of reps. That's all you get. You don't get very many. The starting quarterback is taking 97% of the snaps in practice. It's just that simple. You don't have that much time. So it's not training camp. If Kenny Pickett was there in training camp, I could see, okay, maybe they go to Kenny, but he wasn't. He didn't get there till the regular season, till the end of preseason. He's not familiar with any of these guys, and it showed on the first snap, right? He's not even familiar with Jordan Meredith, and they weren't, I guess, smart enough to go and try to get some practice reps in, and he fumbles the first snap.
Yeah. And speaking of quarterbacks, guys, this is what I've been waiting for. You talked about Jordan Meredith right there. We just talked about a quarterback, and I think it's time now to talk about the draft, you guys, because I've been waiting for this since last episode.
Sis, don't do this to me.
No, listen,
I'm not prepared for this homework assignment. I'm not prepared for this homework assignment.
It's not even much because I'm not even deep diving. I just know that Raider Nation is looking for a quarterback. I think there's a few different approaches to this. I mean, I don't want to say I deep dove, but I brought up some of the big names that obviously everyone's going to talk about. One, I like Dante Moore a lot from Oregon, but I do want to caution. Dante Moore has a history with who? Where'd he transfer from?
Yes.
Oh, Chip Kelly.
Yes.
He's got
Speak
that.
on it. Speak on it. Speak on it.
It wasn't the greatest relationship, so I'm just going to throw that out there. Now, I don't know what Chip Kelly is. Yes. I don't know what his future is going to be with the Raiders, but Dante Moore transferred from UCLA to Oregon for a reason. I'll just leave it at that. Quarterbacks that are going to go high in the draft. Fernando Mendoza, obviously from Indiana. Lenora Sellers, South Carolina. Ty Simpson, Alabama. Dante Moore. Right? Those are the obviouses. But you look at Mendoza. He's good. He's probably going to win the Heisman this year. But is he a game changer at this stage of the game? I don't know. Right? I mean, so far this year at Indiana, 1,923 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 3 picks. Right? I thought he was really good at Cal. He's been okay at Indiana. But is he a game changer? Okay, but he'll probably be the first quarterback taken. So are you going to be in position for that? This is my thing. I don't think the Raiders are going to be in position to get one of these top QBs, and I think that they're going to end up having to get a guy at a lower level and a lower pick, right? And that's fine, a lower round. And you could do that. You could take multiple chances at a lower round guys and hope that you're hit, or you could fall in love with your guy and make sure that you go get him. Whatever their approach is. I will say, Ty Simpson, a lot of people think because I like Alabama football, I'm going to pick him. He has no experience. Like, he has no experience. I mean, think about this. 2023, he threw 4 passes. 2023, sorry, he played in 6 games, had 179 yards. 2022, he threw 4 passes. 2024, he played in 6 games and had 167 yards. This is the first year he's actually starting. First year. Now, he's accurate. 20 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's great. But he has no real experience starting. And I know for a fact NFL drafts, everyone is looking for 20 to 25 starts under your belt. If you can do that, you're somewhere. Lincoln, this will be right to you. This is for you. I wrote this down for you. Who I really think the Raiders should go and get in the first round if they're not in position to go get their quarterback. And again, I want to say that if they're not in position to go get their quarterback, go get Caden Proctor, the big offensive tackle from Alabama. Go get him. Go get it. You have to build your offensive line. It don't matter what quarterback's back there. If you can't protect them, it don't matter. Caden Proctor, I think, is going to be the best tackle in the draft. I would love to see the Raiders invest in the draft or in the offensive line first and foremost. You can get a quarterback a little bit later. I don't think this class is as sexy as it was built up to be. I could be wrong. I know Walt will tell me how I'm wrong in the chat. That's cool. I appreciate that. But I don't think it's as sexy as it was. So the one quarterback that I like, and he's going to be a later round pick. He's not going to be a first round pick. But if the Raiders aren't in position, and I don't know if they're going to be, we saw what happened the last few years. I like Haynes King out of Georgia Tech. I like him a lot. Wow. I really do. He's a later round pick. He's a later round pick, and if he misses, he misses. But you didn't invest a first round pick. He wasn't Kenny Pickett, right? Kenny Pickett was a reach in the first round, and Pittsburgh missed on him. Haynes King will be a later round pick. If you miss on him, you miss on him. But I like him in the later round. Look, this dude's got so much experience. He's got legs. He's got arm, right? He's got plenty of experience. The dude's been through adversity. He's been in college since 2020, right? He's going to be, 25 when the draft comes around. That's fine. Quarterbacks who play till 40 if they want to. I mean, it's fine. I like him a lot. Georgia Tech is undefeated right now. They're playing some really good ball. So, again, just like my dark horse guy, just a guy to pay attention to. I'm not pounding the table saying he's got to be the guy. I'm just saying that's my dark horse guy that I like. I like Haynes King from Georgia Tech. I liked him when he was at Longview High School. I liked him when he was at Texas A&M. I like him now that he's at Georgia Tech and doing his thing. So, definitely it's not like he's some guy that just popped up overnight and I was like, hey, that's a cool guy. Been following him for a very long time. That's the guy. If the Raiders can't get their QB early in the draft, that's the guy I would look at. Take a chance.
Bruh and sis, I was reminded of when Reggie McKenzie came across Derek Carr.
Big Reggie.
And he fell into the second round spot, and the Raiders jumped on him. The Raiders need 2 things, in my opinion. They need a franchise quarterback, and they need a franchise offensive lineman. They have to build around him. Those are usually top 10, top 5 picks in the draft. If you're going to talk about a player that makes a transition like that. Much to Q's point, I think that when the Raiders come to drafting, they have to look at that for the future. First thing foremost, you got to find a way to get a franchise quarterback.
Yep.
That's first thing forward. Yeah. The added caveat would be you find yourself a franchise offensive lineman. In my opinion and where I've been in my views, there have been several scouts that said these are must-to guys when you have the opportunity. Quarterback, shutdown corner, franchise lineman, rush end.
Yep.
And I say that because there's been so much emphasis put on edge end to rush a quarterback, but you see how it has transformed the league. Going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, they committed so much to their pass rush and their ability to get to the quarterback. That shows you how much of an emphasis it is. And with the Raiders, you have that already established in Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, Tyree Wilson. You paid your attention to that. So future projecting, you got to find a way to get a franchise quarterback. Mm-hmm. They thought they might have a hidden gem in Aiden O'Connell.
Right.
And I'm of the mindset that I will sit there and I will stand by this point, guys. I think Aiden O'Connell is capable of playing in this league. You have to create the right system around him. That's just it. That's what it comes down to. But, for the future standard, we have to get through the season. Obviously, you see where we are. This is what we're talking about. You have to draft a franchise offensive lineman. You have to draft a franchise quarterback.
Yep.
That's the future.
Right.
But in lieu of this weekend, guys, Q, and they need to see what they have in the cabinet.
True.
Yeah.
True. Yep.
Yeah.
But that's why I'd draft Proctor off top. I would establish who my offensive lineman is going to be built around, right? I'd go out and get my Penei Sewell. I'd go out and get my, Lane Johnson. I'd go out and get my insert Trent Williams, right? I'd go out and get my guy that could be my cornerstone offensive lineman that could really build around. Right now, the Raiders' best offensive lineman, in my opinion, is JPJ, right? Yeah. And there's questions on where,
without a doubt.
And we don't even know if the team likes him. Yeah. Right? The team likes him, but he's the best offensive lineman. So I would go out and I would try to build a bully. And I've seen a couple points about Jaden Maiava from USC. I like him. I like him a lot. Yeah. He was at UNLV. Saw him up close and personal many times. He could play, flat out play, sure, right? But I think that the order of operations has to be right. Take care of the trenches, right? Yeah. I don't need to hear the excuse next year. Well, the offensive line is not where it needs to be. Well, when's it going to be? When are you going to address it then? Go out and get the biggest and baddest in the land. At least attempt to do it, and then get your franchise quarterback. Unless you're just in love with someone, like I said, if there's like a Jaden Daniels there that you just happen to love, go get him by all means. Forget what I'm talking about. Worry about everything else later. Go get him. But if that guy's not there, don't pick a quarterback just for the sake of picking a quarterback. Right? Well, we need a quarterback, so we're just going to go get one. I don't think they'd operate like that, but I know a lot of fans, that's all they want to hear. Quarterback with the first pick. Yeah, but if your guy's not there, don't waste the pick. Don't Kenny Pickett it, right? Again, he was the quarterback taken in that first round of that draft. Matter of fact, there wasn't a quarterback taken until the third round after Kenny Pickett. Mm-hmm. Just go make sure that the guy that you're going to rock with is really the guy that you're going to rock with, and not just, if you're going to invest a high pick. Now, if you're going to pick a guy in the 4th, 5th round, okay, cool. You can take a chance because fans will get over you missing on a 4th round pick as opposed to missing on a 1st round pick. That's what I do now.
And there's no clear-cut number one in terms of the quarterback position in the draft right now. I think Dante Moore is that. Yeah, I think the top guy is Dante Moore, but if you're not going to have the number 1 pick and get Dante Moore, then you can go for a guy like Proctor. But I think there are enough tackles like Spencer Fano. There's also nice. He's really nice. He's from Utah. So there are other picks that the Raiders can make as well. I like Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is ranked for the first time in a very long time. He kind of reminds me of Johnny Manziel.
I'm about to say that Johnny trains him. Johnny's actually trained him. He looks up to Johnny a lot.
Yeah, so I kind of like him, but we'll see. Coming up in the next segment, Q and Link I have one question for Q and Link that came in the chat that I'm going to be asking the guys. It's a really good one, and it has to do with Geno Smith. So that's on the other side. Keep it locked here on the Locked On Network. You're listening or watching the Raiders Squad Show. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've heard them all before. It's just stress. I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support, and that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers fast-acting doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. Visit Rugiet.com/LockedOnNFL to get 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNFL. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNFL so they know we sent you. Rugiet, stop making excuses and start making moves. All right, guys. I always want to laugh every time I read that read. I'm like, I hope the guys could do this read, but I keep it professional, guys.
It's all you. It's all you. I can't. I won't do that read. It's all you.
All right, guys. So this is the one question I picked. I think it's a good one. It comes from Antiversal. Question for all: how many of the last 10 games would the Raiders have to win for you to feel okay with rolling with Geno into next year?
I think they got to go at least 500. And the thing about it is, it's one thing to pick how many wins. How do they play? What does he look like? Are they winning because of him, or are they, winning, despite him? You know what I mean? Like, how are they winning? Is he looking comfortable? Is he looking like a leader? Is he in control? Like, that's what I really want to see. The wins are fantastic. And like I said, I would like to see this team go 500, the rest of the way, go 5-5 and end up with an overall record of, 7-10. That would make me feel better than where they are right now. But how does Geno look moving forward? Again, we went through all these quarterbacks. Half these guys that are first round picks are going to have to sit for a while. So is Geno going to play good enough where they can select someone and that guy can sit behind Geno for a while? Or are they going to have to say, man, he played so bad that whoever we pick has to go play right away? Like, that's something that you have to think about as well.
I love you guys. I'm going to keep it real. Geno Smith is not the quarterback in 2026.
Okay.
You are playing for a position right now with what we've seen out of this offense and out of this team. You're playing for a position where you're going to draft your franchise quarterback. That's the position you're playing for. And in the sense that no matter who you choose, the things that have to sit comfortable with me are this. Do we have an offensive mentality and capability with the personnel that we have on the field right now to move forward? If Chip Kelly is your offensive coordinator in 2026, you're going to have to draft a quarterback that's specific to that position. You're going to have to draft an offensive line that's specific to that position and what you want them to do. Geno Smith is not your quarterback in 2026. To answer your question, Chantel and Q, what does a quarterback have to do? Look, they have to build some confidence into looking and projecting to this team in the future, because it hasn't happened right now where they are. Geno Smith is not my quarterback in the future, but he's my quarterback right now that gives me the best chance to win. So build an offense, build something that can compete around him with that being in mind, if that makes sense. I'm sorry.
No, that definitely makes sense. I'll put one more thing before we get out of here. I don't even think Chip Kelly is the offensive coordinator next season if they don't start to turn it around, guys. I think he's on a short lease, but maybe we'll talk about that
day, right, sis?
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that on the next episode. Q and Link will obviously be at the Raiders game this weekend, so that on Monday, I'm guessing from Q Studios, the guys will be doing the show from Q Studios. Yes. So Raider Nation, keep it locked here on the Locked On Network. We'll be back Monday morning, 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. That's 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Thanks so much for rocking out with us. We'll see you on Monday and enjoy the game on Sunday.